Hi, this is Brett Ingram, award-winning entrepreneur and digital marketer. And today, I want to help answer the question, is it better to focus on one marketing method or diversify? So marketing is literally defined as the activity or business of promoting and selling products or services, including market research and advertising. But in daily practice to entrepreneurs and business owners like you and me, it basically means finding ways to sell more of our stuff, right? And we're always looking for ways to sell more. So the question that we're naturally presented with at one time or another when we start running a business is it better to focus and get really good at and then optimize one marketing method, or is it better to try multiple methods even if we can't do them all at the same high level, and hope that the idea that they all sort of work together will generate us a greater return on investment and a greater results in our marketing than it would to just focus on one thing? So it's a really good question. It's a really interesting question. And I've had a lot of experience with both ideas. So to start with, there are benefits and drawbacks to both, no doubt about it. So if we cover the benefits and drawbacks, then I'll share with you what I've learned through my years in marketing, business, and through what I know that my partners, associates, and friends and colleagues use as well. So for focusing and specializing, okay, so if we basically choose one marketing method and we say, you know what, we're going to put all our eggs in this basket, and this is what we're going to focus on, and this is how we're going to build our business. This is how we're going to get customers, and this is how we're going to build our brand and get our products and services out to the world. So the benefits and advantages of doing that are, first off, it's less to learn, right? It's a very regardless of what method we're using, whether we're using SEO or whether we're using video marketing or billboard ads or radio or TV or Facebook and social media ads, whatever it is that we're using in order to do our marketing, if we're only focused on one particular type of it, there's less to learn. Because even if it's a big field in and of itself, we're limited to just that. Once we master that, we're good. If we're trying to learn a bunch of different things, it's totally different. So there's less to learn. It's more focused, right? In addition to that, our expenses are going to be lower. Because even if it's an expensive form of advertising or promotion or marketing, the fact is we're only doing the one. So our expenses are going to be lower because we aren't trying to dabble in so many different things. And so those are some benefits. And then there's economies of scale. Because as we start to learn, as we start to develop and figure out what it is we're doing when we're marketing in this particular way, what will happen is we'll get better and better at it. We'll get more efficient at it. And what we'll find is we can start to put in a lot less and get a lot more back from what we're putting in. So, if I'm trying to do SEO or search engine optimization for my business, in the beginning, not only is it a lot of work just because I don't have any presence, but also there's all this learning that needs to be done, and I'm going to be putting in a lot of hours and a lot of time and effort, and I'm not going to see a lot from that right away. But as I start to get better at it, not only will results start to come in, but I will get more efficient because I'll get an understanding of what it is that I really need to focus on within the realm of SEO, continue to focus on that and have a very narrow and pointed focus that will allow me to develop economies of scale. So my efficiency goes way up and my average costs or variable costs are going to keep going down. The other thing is, and this is something that is actually pretty significant, is we have the opportunity potentially to develop a competitive advantage. Because if we get very good at one particular marketing method, then the thing that's going to happen is it's going to be very difficult for other people to then come in and duplicate that. I drive around a lot in the particular area where I live. And when I'm on the highway, I see billboards all the time. And there's tons of billboards for lawyers, tons of them. And most of them are, accident lawyers, personal injury, stuff like that. But despite the fact that there are a lot of different ones and they have various slogans or whatever else, there's one in particular that stands out. Now, I don't know if she's the most successful or the most profitable. I can't speak to that because I don't know her personally and I don't really know the landscape that well. But I do know that there's one that's really carved out a niche for herself. She does all kinds of unique, quirky, funny sort of billboards. So they catch your attention, they make you smirk, they make you laugh a little bit. And because of that, you're going to remember that particular law firm. Now, there are other ones where it's just the person's like standing there in a suit and it just says, call us, like if you're injured or whatever. And there's all these different ideas. But she's the only one that has a proliferation of these billboards, and they all have sort of a different slogan, and it changes all the time. Broken leg, and it's a Thanksgiving one with a turkey leg. Call us or whatever. Slip on ice, ice baby, and she's got like vanilla ice, and she's got her personal injury thing there, right? And all of these things, and she does them all the time and keeps rotating them. So again, she's carved out a competitive advantage in that particular promotional method because no one else is going to be able to do billboards and try to copy what she's doing. She's already got that. Like, they could buy billboards and have their own sort of niche or their own take on it. But because she's done it enough, and because everybody associates these billboards with what she does, everybody knows who she is, and everybody is going to recognize that that's sort of her brand, her competitive advantage. So I don't know what other advertising they do, but in terms of the billboards, it definitely got my attention, and I don't need a lawyer. So certainly not a personal injury lawyer. So the fact is, you can develop a competitive advantage. The other thing is it's simple and streamlined. It really is simple and streamlined because you have one linear focus. You want to dominate and maximize your ability to get really good at this. So you can focus, you can put all of your energy and time and resources into learning that and getting really, really good at it. And when you do that, you're going to be able to be more effective at it. The other thing is you're going to get some potentially protection against your competitors. If you are just randomly advertising, and if we go back to my billboard example, and I'm a personal injury lawyer and I put up a billboard sign, well, the fact is if I have one here and one there, which some of these people do, okay, it might be bringing in some business, but a competitor could come in like this other lady, and even if she were new, even if she hadn't started it already and started doing this, I would be susceptible to that, right? So if you are the one doing that, you have protection a little bit against your competitors. It's going to be very difficult for someone else to use the same marketing method and be able to outdo her at her own game. And so you do get some protection in that way as well. That said, while there are a bunch of advantages to focusing all on one marketing or promotion method, there's also some drawbacks and risks. The first one, which is pretty obvious and right in our face, is that we could limit our sales. If we only have one method that we're using, there might be a cap, there might be a ceiling on how big we can grow that. In the affiliate marketplace that I've launched products, it's much smaller than the grand, marketplace in general. So if I launch a software product within that one market space, there's a cap. There's only a certain number of affiliates. There's only a certain amount of sales. The best launches on the entire platform over years only do a certain amount. So you know that you aren't going to be able to do, tens and hundreds and millions. Whereas in the general market itself, if you have a good enough product, you may be able to. So you might limit your sales. You might find that you can't generate enough sales. If you're using one marketing method, maybe you can't even generate enough sales and revenue to pay the bills. So that's another risk, because if it's a method that you thought was going to be really good, but it turns out it's only trickling in results. And again, if we go back to our SEO example, SEO takes time to build. So over time, that may be something that really generates a lot of money, revenue, and free traffic for you. But initially, we might struggle. We might not be able to make enough sales and revenue with that. So we're going to need a budget. We're going to need some cushion to be able to take the time to ramp it up. We're also potentially at risk for a change in that method or market. So if a disruptive technology comes around that makes what we're doing obsolete, or we can't use it anymore, or something else is more effective, overnight we could be in trouble. I think about this with magazine advertising. When I had my brick and mortar business, and we were building custom configured PCs and shipping them all over the country and the world, we were advertising in the back of magazines. Well, I had gotten pretty good at that because we had figured out what ads work. We tried different things. We had optimized it. I was doing it for a few years. But the fact is, if now the internet came along the way that it does now with all this digital advertising, I don't know what I would have done. I would have had to pivot and figure out how I could translate that into online ads. But the fact is, whatever I was doing, even if I was the best at it, was going to be in for a change and going to be in for a problem. And sometimes with the bigger market, it's the same thing. If there's a market change, let's say, for example, legislation passes in my area that says you're no longer allowed to have any billboards. We're taking down all the billboards. Well, the lawyer person we were talking about is now going to need to find a completely different marketing method. And so you are at risk when you only have one thing going on. The other thing is you could be missing out on a more profitable method, right? Because if the fact of the matter is, if there was another method that we could be using, then, and we're not even tapping into that, we might even be making enough doing what we're doing, not realizing we're leaving 10 times as much revenue on the table because we aren't doing it. We aren't trying those other things. And so, that's the challenge with that. Is that if we are all in one, then those are sort of the benefits and those are sort of the risks of it. Now, if we flip the script and we take a look at multiple marketing methods, let's say that instead we say, we're going all in. We want to blitz this marketing thing. We want to build our brand to a mega brand overnight. And we really want to crush this marketing thing. We've got a budget, we've got a team. So what are we worried about? Let's go for it. Well, the benefits and advantages of trying to do multiple methods at once is, again, the first one's pretty obvious. Potentially multiple revenue streams. So right off the bat, we can make more money. If we have billboards and radio ads, and we have online ads, and we have SEO, each one of those can stand to bring in revenue. And so we aren't as reliant on the one because we have multiple revenue. It only needs to be the aggregate of all of that to put it together that makes enough to pay the bills and to generate profit for us to be okay. So even if one method isn't crushing it, right, we can make multiple revenue streams, which is really, really nice. The other thing is we can get that protection against that method or market fluctuation. Because if that thing does happen and we're running ads online and our billboards get taken down, well, we've still got another method we're working with. So we have to adjust, but at the same time, we're not out of business. And so we get a little bit of protection if one of those methods or one of those markets goes, belly up. If I was running ads in magazines, but I was also doing radio ads, and then the magazine thing shifted to online, it might take me a while to figure out how I could adjust that. But in the meantime, I'd have my radio ads cooking, so I'd still be able to make sales and I'd still be able to make money and still grow my business. And so, it gives us a little bit of protection against those market and method fluctuations there. The other benefit from a branding standpoint is that we can build a multi-channel presence, and that can be greater than the sum of the parts. They say that on average, when you're in sales, they always tell you that the average sales person, it takes 7 contacts to make a sale, to convert someone from a cold prospect to someone who's a warmer prospect to someone who's a real prospect as opposed to just a name on a card or whatever, to actually making a purchase or doing business with you. So if it takes an average of 7 contacts and you're only advertising or only promoting in one method, if that person just happens to not really be a big online person, but one day they were online and they stumbled on your ad, well, that's great, they saw it once. But maybe they're not going to go back to that website. Maybe they're not going to go back online and they're not going to see you again. Well, now if they're driving down the highway and they see a billboard, and then they turn on the radio and they hear a radio ad, you're hitting them from all these different channels. And so because of that, it can build up a brand a lot better and faster. There's a reason that McDonald's runs ads on the radio, ads on TV, ads in magazines, ads online, because they know that multi-channel presence is going to keep things in your mind, and it's going to keep their brand in the presence where they want it to be in all of our minds. And so it's expensive to do all of that, but at the same time, that multi-channel presence can be greater than the sum of the parts in terms of building our brand, building our sales, and growing our business. The other thing is, it can make it easier to adapt or adjust, right? As we mentioned, what happens if all of a sudden we're advertising in magazines and we're doing radio ads, and then the magazines become obsolete because no one's reading them anymore. Everyone's going online. Well, now we at least have something going. So while that's going and still making us some money, we now have the ability to adapt and adjust our other thing to make sure that we can stabilize things and level it out. The other thing is, if we have our sort of hand in multiple pots in terms of marketing and promotion, we can see what's going on in real time. So if, for example, the advent of AI made all of a sudden online advertising hugely profitable, we're already playing in that pool. We're already in that pond. So now we can just increase our presence and take advantage of that boon, right? Whereas if it goes the other way and something starts to slide backward, at least we're in a position there where, again, we can shift away from that because we can adapt and adjust a lot easier. We have our finger on the pulse of a number of different marketing methods, and that's going to help us be more nimble, adapt and adjust, and be more efficient and profitable. But just like focusing on one marketing method, focusing on multiple methods also has drawbacks and risks. The first one is that it's a big multi-headed learning curve, right? So instead of like needing to master one thing, we've got to learn, online advertising. How do you create digital ads? How do you do keyword research? How do you, we got to do SEO, we got to do billboards. Like, how do we know how to design the artwork for that? How do we know what specifications the companies need? So there's a lot of different things, tons of moving parts, and we have to meet deadlines for all of them and make sure that we've got our creatives done and all of our, all the copy that we need. So it's a big multi-headed learning curve. The other thing is the way that customers respond to things are different. When you advertise on social media, you can't go directly for the sale very often because that's not a media that's designed for advertising. It's a media designed for social interaction. Whereas if you're advertising on TV, you could just go right for the jugular with the sale because ultimately what you're doing is interrupting their show anyway. So you might as well just tell them what you want them to go buy. So it's going to depend on all of that, and we're going to have to learn all of that. It's also going to create a far larger and more complex expense and workload footprint because now we're going to need more people. We're going to need more manpower or woman power or people power or whatever. We're going to need more money to be able to handle all of the different work that needs to be done in all these different areas and all the different marketing. And so it becomes a lot more complex to manage it among itself to figure out what angle is going which way at what time, and also to coordinate all that, and also just to get all the physical work done. So the expenses are going to go up, the workload is going to go up, and the overall complexity is going to go up. The other potential negative is that we could spread ourselves so thin that no method is really working, right? So it's basically like the old jack of all trades, master of none. If we're getting a minor return on our social media ads and a minor return on our billboards and a minor return on our SEO, well, the problem is we might not be making enough in any of those to be able to make it profitable. Even all combined, it might not be enough because we're only tipping the iceberg in each one. So we aren't really tapping into what its potential could be. And we're at that stage of it where we're spending a lot to get a small return. So we're never getting to the point that we're making enough. We're spread too thin to make any of the methods really work. The other issue is we can become vulnerable to competitors, right? Because again, as we mentioned, now if we're only so-so at each of the marketing methods, any good competitor could come into any one of those and eat our lunch. They could take us over and they could trump us in what we're trying to do, take over our own market space and beat us at our own game. And so we have some vulnerability. So you can see why this is complex. There are clearly benefits and drawbacks to both strategies. So what should we do? Well, I can tell you from my own experience, I've tried both. And when I tried to do all in one thing, unfortunately, I was a victim of the fact that even though I was getting better at it, there were market fluctuations that caused me to go through some really painful periods where, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to keep doing what I was doing because that's how much my sales and revenue dropped. At the same time, when I've done too many things at once, I've also had the other problem where I was spread so thin that none of them were working that well. And what I realized is I needed to simplify. So what I learned throughout that process is I sort of developed my own process and strategy for how to do this, and it's worked flawlessly ever since. And here's what the strategy is that helps maximize our sales and upside while minimizing our risks and downside. The first thing is to pick the one method that we think is the greatest chance of profit or success. So I get that there's a smorgasbord of ideas, but there's going to be one that in our heart, in our gut, we feel like this is the one that is probably going to be the most profitable. And that's the one that, we're the easiest to implement. So that's the one we want to start with. And then what we want to do is we want to use that. We want to implement it. We want to get right to work and get it going right away. And we want to try to immerse ourselves so we learn as much as possible about it, as fast as possible. Try to become an expert or as close to it. We don't need all the tiny little nitty gritty, but we want to get to that 80% of mastery that we can. The top 20% we can leave until later if we really want it. But that first 80% is relatively easy to get to, and that's what we want to do. We want to get in, immerse ourselves in it, become an expert to the degree that we can, and do that as fast as possible. While we're doing that, we want to pay attention to what's going on and what's working, what's not. We want to adjust, we want to adapt, and we want to optimize. So we get that one method working as well as we can, but we do it as fast as we can. Once we get it to stability, we realize there might be still some untapped potential. It might not be topped out, but we're at the point where all the easy money, all the easy growth is sort of milked out of there when it's stable at this point. And there's not much left to learn. It's only the high end stuff. Tweaks are only at this point going to make a small difference in sales. We're really at the nitty gritty of optimizing. At that point, that's when we want to shift gears. And that's when we want to automate, delegate, and outsource. So if it can be automated, whatever we're doing, automate it. If it can't, then we want to delegate it to someone on our team. If we don't have a team, then we want to outsource and find someone who's good at it, but we already have the process for them. So all they need to do is follow our process. And we want to outsource that. That way we can take on the next best method. So then what we're going to do is we're going to add on what we think the number 2 method is for promotion and marketing. And we're going to add that into our arsenal. And we're going to do, again, the next best chance of success and profit or, quick implementation. And we're going to repeat the exact same process. So we're going to master that to 80%. And then we're going to outsource, delegate, and then we're going to move on to the third one. We're going to do that again and again. So at the end of the day, we've actually created a bunch of good marketing and promotion methods that are all working for us. That way we get the best of both worlds and the greatest chance of success. So the takeaway here is that every entrepreneur and business owner is always looking for more ways to market their products and services, and obviously to make more sales. Now, it can be hard to know what the best way to go about doing that is. Too much focus on one method or spread too thin over too many methods, and we risk not being able to sell enough at all to even survive or stay in business. By methodically starting with our best method, mastering it, then adding more methods and doing the same, we can maximize our sales potential and minimize our risk. And that gives us the highest probability of success.